Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Don Mafia Report. Yes, I believe it. This game could change everything for the Buffalo Bills as far as trajectory is concerned. Perhaps I'm being a bit dramatic. Things have been worse. At one point, the Buffalo Bills were 6-6. The Miami Dolphins were running away with the AFC East, and everything worked out. But I think that I speak for a lot of us that recency bias is a real thing. And 7-3 is going to make us feel way better about this team opposed to 6-4. But let me tell you what, folks, today I have a lineup of different topics that I would like each and every single one of you to be a part of. Super excited to dive into it. As always, you know that I love including the chat into all of these conversations. So do me a favor. If you appreciate that, just do me a favor and hit that thumbs up sign. It's the easiest way to show love over here. Let's recruit more people into our live chat community. And more importantly, let me know where you're tuning in from. What corner of the globe are you tapping in from this morning? Always curious to see how far Bills Mafia truly extends. I need a giant shout out to our good friends over at Sleeper. Folks, Sleeper is hands down the number one player prop platform on the market today. The Jets and the Patriots are playing each other this evening. Spoiler alert, I'm taking Justin Fields under on his passing yards. I think at this point he has 130. Surprisingly enough, I think that's a lock. Maybe you want to include Fields into that conversation and 4 to 5 other players where you could give yourself an opportunity of walking away a massive winner. Okay, you could see returns of up to 1000x. And the thing is, say that you've been sort of teetering around the idea of downloading this. Have no fear. You sign up, you get a free $20 where you could put down a risk-free play on Sleeper, plus a 100% deposit match up to 100 once you ultimately end up making that deposit, of course, using code Don Mafia. Shout out to Sleeper for being a proud partner of today's show. And without further ado, let's go on ahead and get into business, man. First off, where is everybody tapping in from this morning? Do not be shy. I'm talking to the lurkers of the building. I am requiring each and every single one of you to let me know where you're tapping in from, man. Let me know. Lurking Mr. Dan from California. Good morning, my friends. 7 a.m., bright and early. The early bird gets the worm. Ain't that right? Olean, New York. Bills is in the building. Scotland across the Atlantic. Go Bills. Ryan Fletcher, what's going on, my friend? I hope all is well. Lewiston, New York. Jim from Port Orange, Florida. Go Bills. Jim, I hope all is well with you. Chattown is in the building. Lackawanna in the building. Palmer and Davis, participants yesterday at practice. Go Bills. Saw that. Great news, including AJ Epinesa, which is something that we all need to be having a conversation about. Morning, my brother. Brooklyn, New York. What's going on, my friend? Hope all is well. Baltimore, Charlotte, North Carolina. Go Bills from Lockport. Chan, what is going on? Watching from Lexington, South Carolina. Fairfield, Maine is in the building. Lakeville, Pennsylvania. We have South Carolina. Jug World. Dude, my guy. I spent a lot of my life in South Carolina. I am certainly familiar here. From the cruise boat, Diggs' favorite place. Oh, you're on a cruise, Tom Brady. Enjoy the cruise, my friend. Utah is in the building. Live the composer. I hope all is well with you. Charlotte, North Carolina. Matt, what's going on, my friend? I hope all is well. I love the Bills, but Josh is cracked. I'll tell you what, young man, I really hope that he's able to figure it out. Sincerely. Guys, listen, I appreciate all of you tapping in with me this morning. As you know, I'm live Monday through Friday at 10:15 a.m. EST to break down all of the topics that are surrounding your favorite organization across the league. So what I found to be interesting is each and every single matchup is typically determined by 4 or 5 individual performances. And I just so happen to have a couple of players that I think we need to keep a close eye on and who I think are integral to the Buffalo Bills winning this game. And I'm not just pulling out names based off of how they have done so far this season. I'm pulling out names of players that I think could be utilized to exploit specific weaknesses of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you were able to watch one of my earlier streams this week, You noticed that I pointed out a couple of ways I think Buffalo can exploit this Todd Bowles defense, how Buffalo can exploit Baker Mayfield in a very banged up type offense. But now I kind of want to talk more strategy. What can Buffalo do to make sure that we come out victorious? So I want to start off with our first player, and that just so happens to be Khalil Shakir. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I have been seeing a lot of things on Twitter. Specifically, somebody from Cover One, I believe, posted a target chart of each and every single target that Khalil Shakir has had so far this year. And it's pretty frustrating. It's pretty frustrating, especially when you see things like this. And shout out to Built in Buffalo for putting together this wonderful graphic. 46.7% of Khalil Shakir's receptions this season have been at or behind the line of scrimmage. So he's really a weapon for the dink and dunk type offense that Joe Brady has put together. However, a player to watch for me, and this is just based off of speculation. This is me speaking as if I was in the shoes of Joe Brady. You have to incorporate Khalil Shakir into this game. Why, you might ask? Well, let me tell you what. Number one, biggest reason is when it comes into weaknesses of the secondary, by and large, the biggest weakness from this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is stopping slot receivers at wide receiver 3. You will notice wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2s are typically locked down. That's no surprise to anybody because they have perhaps one of the best cornerback tandems in the league in Jamel Dean and Zion McCollum. Zero questions asked. And neither of them really travel over into the slot. They're typically on their own respective islands. So both of them are likely going to be on Keon Coleman, dare I say Gabe Davis, maybe he's activated, and Joshua Palmer, who I imagine is going to be on a pitch count coming off of an injury. But wide receiver 3, plus 13.4% DVOA, which is an advanced metric that measures efficiency based off of quality of opponent. And as you can see, this team is 24th in the NFL for guarding slot receivers. And it's not just that, because you're like, oh, Dan, like it's game script. They could very well find a way of how they could take Khalil Shakir out of the game. Well, why I think Khalil Shakir is also going to be a big player, somebody that is absolutely massive to this team, is this right here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is bad at tackling. Awful. 67 missed tackles so far this season. A lot of them are from their linebackers in Levante David and Servachier Dean, I want to say. I think that's his last name. Both of them have double-digit tackles combined. All of those missed tackles collectively around this defense, they are allowing, folks, nearly 1,200 yards after the catch. That is third worst in the NFL by a country mile. And let me tell you what, let's go back into it. Why should Khalil Shakir be a part of the game plan? Well, number one, we have a team right here that is allowing 1,200 yards after the catch so far this season. And then we're also just so happen to have a wide receiver on this team that is second in the league for yards after the catch, Khalil Shakir right now, who ultimately has 360. He is only behind Jamar Chase thus far this year. Khalil Shakir, for me, is an X factor for this game. And if Buffalo would like to get the game going, have to target Khalil Shakir. Even if it is dink and dunk, even if it is underneath, you know this guy. As far as yak per reception, which is 8 yards on average per reception, that's got to be the game plan. Has to be. Especially when you have all of these tackling issues all across the board. Have to get it done. Zero questions asked. Next up. Next player I want all of us to take a look at is, of course, Jimbo. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys are like, wow, guys, what an absolute crazy take for you to mention right now. James Cook, imagine. Well, let me tell you what. Just like how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers struggle with guarding slot receivers, they also struggle in stopping running backs in the receiving game. I think a lot of it has to do with their linebackers, once again, for having missed tackle, like like missed tackling issues, yards after the catch as well. But James Cook also has to be number 2 in the pass attack type game plan. He has to be at least second in targets by the end of the game. James Cook, Ty Johnson, and or Ray Davis, get them going in the pass game. Thankfully, we have started to see targets to James Cook and running backs slowly climb compared to where they were toward the beginning of the season. And I would be shocked. I really, really would be shocked because I am getting a sense of deja vu right now where I want to say this was against the New England Patriots, or perhaps it was against the Atlanta Falcons, where I spelled out a pretty similar game plan, where Shakir and James Cook needed to be the most targeted type wide receivers or receivers all evening, and Buffalo, for some odd reason, just didn't do it. Whether or not that game script made Buffalo adjust midway through the game, but James Cook has to be implemented into the pass game. I don't think that this run defense is as good as some of the ones that we have played so far this year. Like, sure, I will go on ahead and give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers credit because while their linebackers struggle in coverage, they are pretty good against the run. They're not compared to the New England Patriots, right? They're not compared to what we saw from the Miami Dolphins last week, although that was completely uncharacteristic. I still would like Buffalo to be somewhat two-dimensional, still test the run, but if we want to win this game, we have to get over our pass game woes. And even in pass game woes, once we end up getting into another topic, it's a really weird year. But from that, I digress. So the top 2 players to watch, Khalil Shakir. Number 2, give me James Cook. I think those are the keys for this offense pass game to get going. Those are the top 2. Next up, how about Bucky Irving? Yes, he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but I think this guy changes the dynamic and the outlook of what this offense could be in general right now. This young man has been out with a foot and a shoulder injury since week 4. And it was very strange as well because this young man has not been able to play for about 5 games. Tampa Bay, for some odd reason, did not add him to the IR, which I suppose is a bit of a head scratcher. And we heard toward the beginning of the season, or excuse me, the beginning of the week, that both Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin, and Hassan Reddick are likely going to be out on Sunday versus the Buffalo Bills. But what happens the following day? Bucky Irving is a limited participant. I'm going to keep on paying attention to the injury reports once it's released later this afternoon. And I will tell you this, I feel that this is more so, I'm trying to think of a Buffalo Bills example that happened earlier in the season where we saw a guy start to practice, but he was still unable to go on Sunday for 1 extra week. Have to watch out for this guy. Does he play? Does he not play? Why I'm saying all of this is because this team right here, guys, looks significantly different when Bucky Irving is not out on the field. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and find this real fast. Bang, bang. When Bucky Irving is on the field, folks, this offense is top 10 in the NFL for overall efficiency. When they have their full slate, their full deck, like when they have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, rookie Emeka Egbuka, Tez Johnson going crazy, Cade Otton, you have Bucky Irving. Obviously, a full deck, you're going to be a hell of a lot more efficient. But when Bucky is not out on the table, and these statistics were only pulled compared to when Bucky Irving is out on the field and when he is not. Weeks 1 through 5, top 10 offense. Weeks 6 through 10, 25th ranked in the NFL. 25th ranked in the NFL. Bucky Irving is that type of running back that has that breakaway speed. He's somebody that reminds me quite a bit of a running back we just ended up going up against last weekend in Devon Achane. I would prefer, and obviously I'm rooting for the young man. I hope he gets back to full strength soon, but just not Sunday. Okay? Stay healthy, my friend. Stay healthy and give me all the Rashad White that a man can handle. I feel comfortable with our defense being able to contain those two. Bucky Irving, that's a different conversation. Something else to sort of make you feel okay about it. when you're coming off of an injury that it's pretty clear Tampa Bay was worried about. Even if he is out there, what is his snap count going to look like? How many carries realistically will this young man have if he is able to play on Sunday? Something to take a look at. Because when Bucky Irving is out there, folks, like that's when you have opportunities for Cade Otton to go off. That's where you have opportunities for Emeka Egbuka. That's where you could really confuse our secondary. If Bucky Irving is not out in the field, all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have as an offensive weapon right now is going to be a rookie wide receiver in Emeka Egbuka. Maybe Tez Johnson, but we shall see. Which goes into my next key of the game. And a matchup I'm actually really interested to watch. Maxwell Harrison is number 4 for me. Maxwell Harrison is number 4 for me. You look at the current wide receiver setup for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It looks like Christian Benford, I want to say, is still limited from last week. I want Maxwell Harrison on Emeka Egbuka. I really do. I really, really do. I think that this young man has done very well, all things considered. Of course, he has 2 interceptions, one of which was an arm punt from Tua last week, but still, he was able to come down with it, which is ideal. He's proven to be a bit of a ball hawk. He's got the speed with Emeka Egbuka, right? I think that he had a very quality learning rep last week when he was going up against Jalen Waddle. I think he was way too confident in his speed, was not being physical enough, especially at the line of scrimmage. I think, based off of what I have seen, that he seems to each and every single week look better and better. And that's a good thing. Like, you want to be coachable. What's the Maxwell Harrison and Emeka Egbuka matchup going to look like? Or the Maxwell Harrison and the Tez Johnson matchup going to look like? It's time. Like, young man, it is time. Like, you've had 3 games with this team. It's time for you to start getting some pretty considerable snaps. That's what I'm looking at. Run man coverage, get it done. Run man coverage on this Baker Mayfield. You absolutely have to. That's player number 4. And then number 5, obviously, we're going to have to go with our good friend Baker Mayfield here. Now, look. As many of you know, I'm a big Baker guy. I've been a big Baker guy for a long time. I loved him out of Oklahoma. I was always rooting for him when things like got dicey over in Cleveland, in Carolina. I was one of the happiest fans on earth when I saw that he revived his career. Well deserved. However, this guy is probably one of the most clutch QBs in the league right now. It's funny because when you look at the offense of Tampa Bay, it's kind of bleh, minus fourth quarter comebacks. Like, he has had several wins with just fourth quarter comebacks down by 3. He takes the Buccaneers downfield and wins everything. And I mean, he's a vet. He's smart. He's smart with the football, right? Like, he's very good at being able to help develop some younger weapons. That's just who he is as a guy. So what I want to do is really make it as uncomfortable as humanly possible against Baker Mayfield. As many of you guys know, say that you watch my show a couple of days ago. As far as the Buffalo Bills' defensive strategy against this guy, I need you to run man coverage. I need you to run man coverage. When Baker is facing man coverage, his success rate is 34.5%. His completion percentage is 57.1. That is awful, in case you were wondering. His EPA per play is in the negatives. Again, that is awful. And his yards per attempt are 4.6 yards. Followed by, or compared to, zone coverage. This is where he slices and dices. He's a vet. His wide receivers are capable of finding space. He's very smart at this. 68% completion percentage. His average depth of target is 8.1. So I think when you look at these numbers, if I'm Bobby Babich, I am thinking from the beginning that man coverage has to be the play. It absolutely has to be. From what I understand, Baker has been dealing with a bit of an injury as well. He has not had many rushing attempts throughout the past 3 weeks. He's playing through something. So I don't know if his legs are going to be much of a factor in Buffalo on Sunday. But he is my 5th player to watch. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, man. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the chat real fast for a brief Q&A segment. Let's go ahead and get into it. Question, who should start on the D-line for the Buffalo Bills? Muhammad's coming on in. Well, I'll tell you what. It's good to hear that AJ Epinesa has cleared concussion protocol. He's been a full participant for the past 2 days. He is back. He is quality depth. And funny enough, he does get a lot of crap from Bills fans, but he's been playing pretty well this year. He's been a key piece in our defensive line rotation. So thankfully, he'll be back. Daquan Jones should be closer to normal on Sunday. Last week, obviously, his first game back. It's going to take him a little bit of time to knock the rust off. He did blow a calf in pregame warmups against Atlanta. And TJ Sanders was activated off of the IR. He's practicing. His 21-day practice window has begun. Is Buffalo desperate enough to activate him and get him going? Because when you look at TJ Sanders, he is, at least stylistically, a very similar defensive tackle to Ed Oliver. He's no Ed Oliver now, but I got to tell you, if he can go out there and even mimic 75% of Ed Oliver's impact out there, then I think that guy deserves all the flowers in the world. And it's a hell of a lot better, too, because last week, man, we were so desperate at defensive tackle, so desperate at defensive end. So we were like rotating Daquan Jones out as an edge rusher last week just so we can get through the damn game, right? Like we were rotating Javon Solomon on the interior where he's an undersized edge rusher. Imagine Javon Solomon as an undersized defensive tackle. So reinforcements are here. So still give me a pretty heavy rotation and give me Joey Bosa with his damn cast on his damn hand. It's a damn club. And then I think things will be okay. That is indeed me. Bucks are a crazy team when they are healthy. Very good team right now. Unfortunately, they have hit the injury bug more than they needed to. And do you think we are going to run as many screens as we did on Sunday? So I got to tell you what. Unfortunately, when it comes into the screen, folks, it's going to be a part of the Buffalo Bills offense for a significant amount of time. Okay? So I'm not sure if you saw this, but no matter how much you hate the screen call, the Buffalo Bills are statistically one of the best at running it this year. One of the best. Second in EPA, 7th in success rate. So top 10 in successful screens and 2nd in expected points added. So unfortunately, as much as you guys hate screens on 3rd and 10, like situational screens, I think are a bit broken. I do think that screens are effective because for the most part, we're a very good team at running it. It's just specific situations which are annoying. Like 3rd and 10 screens, sort of annoying. You know, like I am fine with a 2nd and 4 screen or like a 2nd and 6. Hell, even a 1st and 10 screen, I'm completely fine with it. But like with Josh Allen's, like throwing a screen is kind of like wonky. His mechanics are really weird when he does it. And very oftentimes, like he like has a piss poor throw. You could chalk it up to be miscommunication. He's trying to throw the wide receiver open into space and the wide receiver just isn't on the same page. But like it or not, this team is very good with screens. He's quality. He's quality with the screen. It's just how it is. Question, Dan, and did you hear about Shakir being questionable with a rib injury? Should we risk playing him? One good hit, and it could make things worse. I mean, we're going to have to see the injury report for me. Right now, I don't think Buffalo is really in much of a position to rest some of our best players because we're not going to have Dalton Kincaid. He's not going to be out there. And you end up taking Khalil Shakir out of the equation, who's going to take his responsibility? Is that Curtis Samuel? Is that Elijah Moore out of the slot? I mean, damn, maybe it's Keon Coleman out of the slot. Who knows? Let me see on Friday and see what the injury report says. Say, for example, he's a full participant, then I trust the trainers. I trust all of that. We have the Blazers in the building. What is your take on Joe Brady calling the plays in our games? Looking like Josh isn't himself out there. My take is, and this really aggravates people on Twitter, but it's true. As long as you end up watching all 22 and like you look at some of the deep metrics of the game, a lot of what is wrong with this passing offense is Josh Allen. A lot of it is Josh Allen. And people hate to hear that, but it's true. There are a lot of false narratives out there, Blazer, where people are saying that wide receivers aren't open. Wide receivers are open. They certainly are. The problem is that Josh Allen just doesn't like which wide receiver is open, and he is consciously passing on that guy. You've heard me say that he needs to start taking things underneath. He needs to stop leaving the pocket too soon. There are very rare opportunities where somebody is not open. That could be 5 to 6 yards, 3 to 4 yards after the catch once caught, even if the average depth of target is 2 to 3 yards from the LOS. A lot of what's wrong with this team is Josh Allen. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, he's the MVP. I still think he's the best quarterback on the planet. Everybody has flaws. But a lot of what we see from this is Josh just refusing to take certain things. He's trying to force big plays rather than taking the guy that's 5 yards downfield as the check down or underneath. He's trying to fit something into double coverage to damn Terrell Shavers or to Keon Coleman for the back shoulder catch off of the perimeter. He's trying to make big plays at the end of the day where he should be focusing on what the defense gives him, which ultimately ends up opening up the downfield stuff. That's why we look so good against the Kansas City Chiefs, was because that's what he did. He took what the defense gave him at the beginning of the game, and then once the Kansas City Chiefs tried adjusting to the underneath stuff, that's what started opening up downfield plays, downfield opportunities. So that's what I need Josh to do, is just to get out of his own head, stop big play chasing, take what the defense gives you, and eventually the defense is going to give you something that you're going to like. It's how it is, man. Like, that's how Tom Brady ran an offense for damn 10 years and terrorized, with the entire NFL. Sammy is saying, I agree, Dan. Allen isn't taking the opening underneath. For sure. Like, you see so many occasions where he's just not taking what the defense gives him. And maybe it's game scripts, right? Like, maybe it's game scripts. Maybe he's concerned that there's not enough time on the clock and he's trying to score quickly. But again, like, we have a lot of guys on this team that create crazy yards after the catch. So the underneath stuff is not terrible when you have a wide receiving core that creates as much yards after the catch as the Buffalo Bills do. That's my take on it. But what can you do? What can I do? All right, folks. With every single game that the Buffalo Bills end up playing, there are storylines that we need to pay attention to. Storylines that I feel that we need to really put into consideration. It's the Josh Allen. It is the Baker Mayfield face-off. 2 former first-round picks, the 1st overall and the 7th overall. How Buffalo can potentially bounce back. The whole 9. Well, let me tell you what. The Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to go ahead and put up a visual so we know what we're talking about right here. You're probably curious about what this overall matchup history has looked like between the Buffalo Bills and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'll tell you what, so far, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have had the Bills number as far as historic matchups. Bills face the Bucs, as we know, a team we rarely play, only 13 times. We have only played this team 13 occasions. all-time series goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are 8-5. Last matchup, the Buffalo Bills, 2023, Week 8. I'm sure you remember that Hail Mary attempt from Baker Mayfield that arguably I think Chris Godwin could have caught and tied the game at that point. And also a season that feels very similar to this because Buffalo is coming off of a loss that previous week. After we escaped Tampa Bay, we dropped the next two, went to 6-6, and everyone thought that the season was over. And we know the rest of the story. But yeah, Josh Allen with 3 total touchdowns in that game, Baker Mayfield with 2 total touchdowns, and cough, cough, Khalil Shakir, 6 catches for 92 yards. Got to tell you what, I absolutely love that for a play, but we will save for that later. Sean McDermott versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and maybe I hope that you guys can use a lot of this information to make yourself feel better about this matchup. 2-1, and his only loss was in overtime in 2021. I think we remember that, with Buffalo was also hitting a struggling period of their season, and we lost to Tom Brady in overtime. Bills came back down from 17 in the fourth quarter. It was overtime. It was decided by Tom Brady to Brashad Perriman for a 58-yard touchdown. My God, heart breaks. Meaning that Josh Allen's career versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it is a tie ball game. And the third matchup begins on Sunday. So, the historic matchup, what exactly does that look like? That much I can tell you. Second storyline, I think, is pretty exciting. It's Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield. Both of these quarterbacks, as mentioned previously, were selected in the first round of the 2018 draft. As you can remember, they had a bit of a joking around session in their press conferences a bit earlier here. We had Josh Allen say that Baker Mayfield has or wears 2 gloves while golfing. And we heard Baker Mayfield say that he needs to use a walkie-talkie to talk to Josh Allen since he is 6'10". So it seems like that there is some chumminess within this relationship thus far. As far as quarterback comparisons, what have they been doing so far this season? Or what did they look like during their rookie season, excuse me? With Baker, he ultimately ended up having a much solid year, right? His rookie year, 3,725 yards and 27 touchdowns. First 3 seasons, over 3,500, 22 touchdowns each year. He hit the ground running. And so I think a lot of us are familiar with how Josh started his career. Thank God for 2020. Thank God for Stephon Diggs to go ahead and lock in. Allen, with his early career, his year 3 breakout, it took him until year 3. 4,500 yards, 46 total touchdowns, and 13 wins. Allen versus Mayfield head-to-head as starters, 1-1. And other than 2018 first-round quarterbacks, Darnold, Rosen, and Lamar Jackson. Where the hell is Rosen going into it? I think that's a pretty solid question if you were to ask me. Next storyline, Bills mindset after the loss. What are the Buffalo Bills going to do? Right? Like, we lost to the Miami Dolphins. And it's odd. It's very, very odd, too, when you look at this team, because what do we genuinely believe from this team? So I see a team that goes out there and puts together one of the craziest comebacks I've ever seen in my entire life against the Baltimore Ravens in the fourth quarter. And then I see the Buffalo Bills take care of business against the Kansas City Chiefs at home. But then I see the Buffalo Bills lose to the now 3-6 Atlanta Falcons. And so I see them lose their first home game in over 27 games against a divisional foe with the New England Patriots. I see the Buffalo Bills get blown out by the Miami Dolphins in Miami, a place which most Bills fans would ultimately end up looking at the schedule and chalking that up as an automatic win. How does Buffalo respond to this? It's pretty clear, guys. And so I'm not going to lie to you. We're seeing some clues of frustration within the locker room. Number one, with Josh Allen. Like, dude just looked disheveled during his press conference this previous week. Sounded like he was having some sort of beef with Keon Coleman or something. Some people even diagnosed the recent video of him doing all these handshakes with these wide receivers and him just not really looking into it with Keon Coleman. I'm sure that was much of an exaggeration here. But does something feel off with the locker room, right? Like, does this seem like eerily similar to when Ken Dorsey was all but ruining this offense? Does it? My question becomes, how does this team respond? Historically speaking, this much I can tell you, is I know this team tends to play better against quality competition. Like when you go up against playoff teams, this Buffalo Bills team is very good historically. And if there's any consolation, for the most part, bad teams are few and far between on the remaining of the schedule. So we'll probably see Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, right? We're going to be seeing in the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not sure if you would put them as a playoff team. But make no mistake, this Tampa Bay Buccaneers squad is indeed a very talented one. So how does Buffalo ultimately end up surviving this one, right? How do they do it? We're going to have to see. We are going to have to see. Let's lock in. Truth Chiller, I need to see Buffalo behave in a way that gets Bob some decent damage. No, you don't, my friend. You need to see Buffalo absolutely lock in and have themselves a day. This upcoming game is a must win. Yes, it is, Hill. Dan, what would it take for Bean and McDermott to get canned? You would probably need 2 consecutive seasons with no playoffs. And most of you are like, no, it needs to be done this year. Like, guys, look, say that it was up to me. These two would have been gone 2 Chiefs playoff losses ago. So the Tyler Bass wide right game would have probably been the last of Sean McDermott for me and Brandon Beane. But why I don't waste a lot of energy on this conversation is it's worthless. It's not worth it because this ownership is not going to fire either of these two. Because number one, they also own the Buffalo Sabres. They are comparing it. And the Bills' front lawn is a hell of a lot greener than whatever the Sabres have going on. They look at the Buffalo Bills. They see that merchandise is still being sold. They see that playoffs, like playoff tickets, are still being sold. This team is consistent. This team is exciting. So they're not going to fire these guys. Like back when it was Rex Ryan and he had a couple of years here and there, why he was fired so soon was just because like he had no shot at winning the division. He had no playoff appearances. So Sean ended up breaking the playoff drought 17 years in, right? His first year. Then like he made it to 2 AFC championships. So we can all sit here and say, oh, like when are they going to be fired? I don't know. I mean, dude, we have no control. Like we have no control. I'm sure that if we had control, I'm sure that both of these guys would be gone by this point so we could, you know, sort of test the waters and see what else is out there. But I mean, it's a lost cause. So say that you want Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane gone, we would either need 2 consecutive years of no playoffs, or we would need some regression, or like 2 back-to-back seasons where we get first rounded in the wild card. That's what I would say. But we still have some time. I just hope we play how we played versus Kansas City. Let's lock in. What's up, Dan, my man? Y'all better beat the Bucs or it's over. 6-4. I wouldn't call 6-4 over. We were 6-6, and we were able to squeeze in and still make the playoffs. But I am confident. We are trash. Better off taking the season and get a better pick. Senke Chandler, I'm not convinced he's a Bills fan, to be honest with you. Question, and do you think the whole Joe Brady clear out routes is why Josh Allen isn't looking at certain routes and why Keon is running some lazy routes because he's not going to be looked at? I saw that video of that one specific rep where Keon Coleman was just literally jogging on his clear out. Like effort is not there. And when you ultimately end up seeing all of these, here, let me see if I can pull it up. actually. Let me see if I can pull it up. Keon Coleman. All right. Folks, with Keon Coleman has certainly been getting quite a bit of flack from Buffalo Bills fans for not living up to the expectations that a first pick of the draft for a team should be living up to. I'm not going to give him too much crap. He's not a first-round pick. He was a second-round pick. But there's been a lot of rumors that for some reason he is not really a good culture fit. Some are suggesting that he is immature. Some are suggesting that Sean McDermott is not the biggest fan, hence why he has been disciplined now twice in only his very short career thus far. But now this clip has been making the rounds of good old Keon Coleman. This right here is what our good friend Billy just pointed out on the clear out. Let's take a look at this one. Go ahead. Wow. Billy McDougal, let's revisit this conversation. Why Josh Allen isn't looking at certain routes and why Keon is running some lazy routes because he knows he's not even getting a look at. Yeah. So my thing is, number one, running a clear out with the slowest guy in your wide receiver room is a questionable decision to begin with. But when you're having the guy run the clear out and he's literally going like a 7-3 40-yard dash pace, that's not doing the offense any favors at all. Like, no safety is going to bite on that. And granted, I'm going to have to pull up the all-22 and see what play this was. Because for all I know, like, this was a screen over to Shakir on the opposite side, right? Or perhaps, like, this was, like, a really quick pass to, like, Cook on a wheel route. Like, where Josh's head was, like, his whole body wasn't even in Keon Coleman's direction. But for me, if you want to effectively run a clear out, like, do it with a wide receiver that at least, like, defenses could buy that he could be targeted. And when I say buy, like, give me a wide receiver that runs at least a sub 4.4. Like, we have an Elijah Moore. We have a Curtis Samuel who run a 4.2, a 4.3 40. 4.3s a piece last time recorded. I'm sure they probably regressed slightly with their age, but sell it appropriately. No one's buying. Like, no one's buying that Keon Coleman is going to be targeted too often on a clear out, right? Now, I suppose the devil's advocate, he's seen a lot more targets than he should have in those out situations. But, like, really, I just think it's boiled down to this. And so I think Josh thinks that he doesn't have as much time as he truly does. And he's saying no to all of the underneath stuff. And he is literally passing on particular wide receivers because he doesn't like it. He's just like, nah, you know what? I actually trust my arm strength and to fit this 20 yards downfield into triple coverage. I've done it before, and we need a big play here. So I think that's what it is. That's my whole thought process. Statement. Ravens was a bad matchup and the Bills beat them. I think the Bills can beat the Texans. Is don't put much sticking bad matchups all the time. I have the Buffalo Bills losing to Houston next week on Thursday. I do not like the matchup. It is the best defense in the NFL. Like, while I think our defense should be able to also make it a close game with the Houston Texans offense because they are awful. And an awful offensive line, and I think that Buffalo should be able to generate pressure. I do not like the matchup, especially without Dalton Kincaid. It's going to be hard for Buffalo to really do much of anything against Houston on Thursday. Hence why I think this game is a must-win for Buffalo against Tampa Bay. That's kind of my thought process. Diggs was doing the same thing toward the end. Yep. They need to seriously consider swapping positions for Coleman and Shakir. I would actually be okay with that. Coleman was a terrible draft pick. Not his fault. Show the whole play. Zoom out. This right here is just a clip from Twitter. I don't have the specific play on all 22. I will find it. He needs to put more effort in his route running. He does. Fumbles and interceptions are Joe Brady's fault. That is a very good point. He's not out there causing turnovers. Why do Bills fans want Dable back? He doesn't run the ball. Still a head-scratching question for myself as well. Like, a lot of people want Brian Dable back, but then my argument is, okay, so do you want James Cook to all but disappear and make that contract he just signed be completely useless? And so even when he had Saquon Barkley, he wouldn't run the ball, right? Like, he would force the pass game. So it's really picking the two evils here. Would you be okay with Dable coming in and being a pass game coordinator? And maybe if Joe Brady gets fired, you have Brian Dable take over as the interim offensive coordinator. And he adjusts our passing game with wide receivers a lot of us don't even believe in the first place. And we limit that production from James Cook. That makes no sense to me at all. I am not a big Brian Dable type guy. As far as available offensive coordinators, because one of two things is going to happen to Joe Brady. He is in the Bobby Slowick category. I'm sure y'all remember Bobby Slowick from Houston. He was the offensive coordinator when C.J. Stroud was in his rookie season, and he was a part of head coaching conversations, right? But then he elected to stay with Houston that following year and then got fired. What I think is, if this Buffalo Bills team makes it to the divisional round and turns it around and starts looking more consistent on offense, I think Joe Brady, he gets either a head coaching job in college or in the NFL. He's gone. If we don't, if this offense continues to stay stagnant and inconsistent, then I think Buffalo would move on. And if there were two guys that I would welcome onto this team far before I would welcome Dable back, would be Kevin Stefanski, number one from Cleveland. And so I think he kind of fits what Sean McDermott likes to do. He's really good. He is really, really, really good with so the rushing offense. He's great with that. And he's pretty solid when it comes into the pass game as well. And then next up would be Mike McDaniel for me. So I would be Team Stefanski or Mike McDaniel way before I would even entertain bringing Dable back. Nah, I'm good on this side. I'd rather run the run, try an offensive back they had last year. See, Brady's odds are favorable for the LSU job. I saw that. Hell no to Kevin Stefanski. Well, like it or not, I have a feeling he would be a McDermott guy. He would be a McDermott guy because McDermott likes having the ground and pound type sort of offense. So you should comprehend that was Josh Allen's fault. So you should comprehend that was Josh Allen's fault. What are you talking about? I am going to need you to expand. I am unfamiliar where that came from or what you were referring to. I wouldn't mind McDaniel at all. Dude, I would welcome him in a heartbeat. Eddie is in the building with a new membership. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Why Joe Brady was fired from Carolina as the OC. Brady seemed to run a very simple and predictable offense, no creativity, and teams seemed to know what was coming. You also had a very toxic ownership and head coach at the time. Like, you had Matt Rule, who had no business being an NFL head coach. And I genuinely believe that you had an environment that you were destined to fail with Joe. Because what he was able to do with 4 or 5 different quarterbacks and still had that offense moving at a pretty decent rate was impressive. More so of Joe Brady getting fired from Carolina, and this is just my opinion, and this is just what I think I know. At the end of the day, when it comes into sports takes, it's all about what we think we know. No one's wrong. It's opinions. unless you have bugs inside of the offices of the coaching staff and or front offices, nobody knows anything. All we can do is make educated guesses. I would be willing to bet that it had a hell of a lot more to do with the unpredictability of the coaching staff at the time and Matt Rule attempting to find scapegoats before his inevitable firing. That's kind of where my thought was. Dan, culture is killing this team. We need to win. There's too much love going on with this team. Nothing wrong with that, but winning should be first. Stop bringing back remnants. Ugh, look at that. All this talk about Joe, but what about Bobby? Is he here next season? I think he's gone too. And so I think Bobby Babich is going to get the Leslie Frazier treatment. Because when you end up getting play calling responsibilities taken away from you, typically the beginning of the end. So whether or not that we hear that Bobby Babich is taking a break from football so he could focus on his family or something like that, like that's what I think is going to happen, is more so in that line, if you will. But let's talk about some bets, folks. Some bets at the end of the day of what I love for the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Okay? Many of you know that I have broken down what we should see as far as comparisons of the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, when I end up looking at the Buffalo Bills offensive comparison to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, points per game, and so the Bills are 6th in the league. Points per game, the Bucs are 11th at 24.4. Yards per game, which is crazy. This Buffalo Bills team is 2nd in the NFL for 384.4 yards per game. It's things like this that make me really look in the mirror and ask myself, am I spoiled, right? Followed by the Bucs in yards per game are at 17th at 328.3. Passing yards, 231.2. That is 12th. Bucs passing yards, 228.6. Rushing yards, the Bills are 1st in the NFL at 153. Bucs rushing yards are 25th in the NFL, but keep in mind, Bucky Irving has been gone for the majority of the season. Red zone percentages, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills are 7th, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are sitting at 24th in the league. So when I end up looking at these comparisons offensively, so I see a couple of things that we should ultimately end up going with. Number one, I'm going to have to go with Khalil Shakir over his respective receiving yards. I want to say where it stands over on Sleeper right now. He's at 70, 68 or 70 yards. I am hammering the over on this. Number one, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3rd last in the NFL for stopping yards after the catch, and Khalil Shakir is the 2nd best yak receiver in the league by a large margin. And then number two, they have missed tackling issues. So I am going to go with the over on Khalil Shakir. I'm also going to end up taking a look at some of the specifics. Those are just some of the things that we should be able to take a look at. Followed by this, I'm going to go on ahead and take our good friend James Cook for over 74.5 rush yards. Again, this is a somewhat quality run defense, good tacklers from the linebacker side of things. However, I am going to go with James Cook over 74.5 receiving yards. I like it. I like Emeka Egbuka over 65.5 receiving as well. I genuinely believe that that is going to be sort of like something I believe that he will win a couple of times against Maxwell Harrison. So I'm just going to sort of get my bets. I think Cade Otton goes for over 45.5 receiving yards. That would be my parlay for the most part. You are not spoiled with the schedule. The Bills should have the number 1 seed this year, and we will be lucky to make the playoffs. Byron Bagby is coming on in. The doom and gloom is at an all-time high. We have Cook and Keon Coleman anytime touchdowns. A Keon Coleman anytime touchdown would be crazy. I love it. Let's just see. Cook and Keon, let's talk about it. Statement. Don't forget humble and hungry. I like that. I like that. Let's go, Buffalo Bills fans. Jeff Hewitt, you're the man. All right, folks. That's going to have to do it for another edition of the Don Mafia Report. I appreciate you guys for tapping in with me, as you always do. Subscribe and turn on bell notifications. I know a lot of you tune in to the replay of these shows. So say, for example, that you haven't already. Make sure you turn on those bell notifications because I would love for you to join live. As you can see, we try to incorporate as many of the people in the live chat as possible so we can further these conversations. Thank you so much for all of your love. I will see you over on 4th and Forever here in about an hour and 45 minutes, and we'll see you then. Peace.